You know the dream, right? You've done everything perfectly. You planted, you watered, and you've been imagining those sweet, sun-warmed strawberries. But then you walk out one morning and it's a disaster. Chewed up leaves, weirdly shaped fruit, and a harvest that's basically vanishing before your very eyes. If that sounds a little too familiar, don't sweat it. We're about to name the culprits and give you a solid battle plan to take back your berry patch.
You know, my grandma really hit the nail on the head with this one. Your strawberry patch can quickly turn into an all-you-can-eat buffet for every pest in the neighborhood. So in this explainer, we're going to do exactly what she said. We're going to shut that buffet down for good, using natural methods that actually work.
Every single gardener knows this struggle. It's that huge gap between the gorgeous, perfect harvest you see in your mind's eye and the harsh reality of what pests can do to your precious plants. And here it is, right here, side by side. On the left, that's the dream, right? A beautiful, protected patch, full of perfect berries. And on the right, well, that's the painful reality for a lot of us. A ripe berry getting absolutely demolished by a slug. But the good news is we can totally get you from the picture on the right to the one on the left. I promise.
Okay, let's start our little recon mission with the pests that go straight for the good stuff, the fruit itself. These are the ones that cause the most obvious, and let's be honest, the most heartbreaking damage.
First up on our most wanted list is the tarnished plant bug. This little guy is small, super fast, and one of the most destructive pests out there. See, it doesn't just take a nibble. It actually injects a toxin when it feeds on the flower buds. That's what causes the fruit to get all twisted and deformed as it grows.
Now, this is a really important point because it's where a lot of gardeners get tripped up. Are your weird-looking berries because of some bad weather and poor pollination, or do you have a pest problem? Knowing the difference is absolutely crucial to fixing it.
So let's get a close look at this comparison. Fruit from poor pollination is usually just pale and kind of lumpy all over. But the damage from a tarnished plant bug is super specific. You get these puckered, cat-face berries with all the seeds clustered at the tip. That is the smoking gun you're looking for.
So how do you fight back? Well, first things first, clean up your act. Get rid of weeds and debris where they love to hide. You can also use floating row covers to physically block them. But my absolute favorite tip, and you're going to love this, go out there in the cool of the morning with a little handheld vacuum and just slurp them right off the plants. Seriously, it works like a charm.
All right, let's move on to our next culprit. This one's a silent predator that does all its dirty work overnight, the slug. If you come out in the morning and see big, ragged holes chomped out of your berries, you can pretty much bet it was these slimy little marauders.
So what exactly are you looking for? Besides those obvious holes, keep an eye out for their calling card, those shiny, silvery slime trails on the leaves. Slugs are most active at night and when it's wet and humid, especially in the spring and fall. That's when you need to be on high alert.
To stop them, you've got to build a fortress. Copper tape is brilliant. It gives them a tiny, unpleasant electric shock when they try to cross it. The classic beer trap lures them in for their last drink. And diatomaceous earth? Well, for them, it's like walking across a field of broken glass. The big takeaway here is that when it comes to slugs, physical barriers are your absolute best friend. Okay, so we've covered the pests that are pretty easy to spot. Now we need to go undercover. Let's talk about the stealthier threats, the ones that attack from under the ground or hide beneath the leaves, causing damage you might not even notice until it's way too late. Meet the strawberry root weevil. Now, the adult beetle will nibble these little notches in the leaves, which is a good clue to look for. But the real damage, the serious stuff, is happening completely out of sight. Its larvae live underground and just chew away at the roots, stunting your plants and sometimes, killing them outright. So how in the world do you fight an enemy you can't even see? You go biological. You can introduce beneficial nematodes into the soil. These are basically microscopic worms that hunt down and kill the weevil larvae. It's like releasing a tiny army. And don't forget to rotate where you plant your strawberries every few years to break their life cycle.
Aphids, the bane of so many gardeners. These tiny sapsuckers multiply like crazy, and they love to cluster on the undersides of new leaves. They weaken the plant, sure, but they also leave behind this sticky, sugary waste called honeydew, which can lead to a nasty black fungus called sooty mold.
Luckily, aphids have a ton of natural enemies.
If you've just got a small infestation, a strong blast of water from the hose can work wonders. If you've got a bigger problem, it's time to call in the cavalry. Ladybugs and lacewings absolutely love to eat aphids. Planting some garlic or chives nearby also helps to repel them. Our final hidden threat isn't an insect at all. It's a tiny arachnid, the spider mite. These things thrive in hot, dry weather. You'll know they've moved in when you see this signature yellow stippling all over the leaves. And if it's a really bad case, you'll actually see their fine, silky webbing.
The secret to beating spider mites is pretty simple. You have to fight their environment. They absolutely hate cool, humid conditions. So just misting your plants or regularly hosing down the undersides of the leaves can make your strawberry patch a really unpleasant place for them to live.
Okay, so just when you think you've finally won the war against the bugs, the final raiders arrive. We're talking about birds and rodents. They patiently wait until your berries are perfectly ripe, and then they descend for the feast. The damage is pretty obvious. You'll see peck marks, half-eaten fruit, or berries that have just completely vanished.
For these bigger pests, the best defense isn't some kind of spray or trap. It's just simple exclusion. A good quality bird netting draped carefully over your patch is the single most effective way to make sure that you get to eat your berries, not the birds.
So we've met the whole rogues gallery, and we've learned how to fight them off one by one. But here's the real secret to a great harvest. It's not about constantly fighting individual battles. It's about winning the entire war by building a strong, resilient garden right from the very beginning.
This checklist right here, this is your blueprint for success. We're talking healthy soil, good sanitation, smart mulching, and just being out there inspecting your plants often. These aren't just a list of chores. This is the foundation of organic pest control. This is how you create an environment where your plants thrive and pests, well, they just don't.
After all this talk about bugs and barriers and vacuums, what's the one thing you really need to remember? What is the real secret to protecting that amazing harvest you've worked so hard for?
It all comes down to this. The best tool you have is your own 2 eyes, your attention. Walk through your garden every day. Look under the leaves. Really get to know your plants. And hey, when you get stumped, remember that sometimes the oldest wisdom is still the best. Happy gardening!